What is good, y'all? It's the GOAT, the greatest of all time, King's NE 100, bro. Today we're gonna be talking about our first ever anime watched, and my first ever anime watched, gang, was Dragon Ball Z, or technically Dragon Ball, but we're not gonna go there, right? So, watching Dragon Ball Z made me who I am today. You feel me? The absolute greatest of all time, the GOAT, the self glaze. You feel me? And what about you guys?
Yo, so
Yeah, you have the floor to beaches.
uh, I'll be real with you. Every time I first watched, and I thought this would be like pretty much for all of us. It's Pokemon, bro, and it was between Pokemon and Blade, but Pokemon was the first anime, technically the first anime I watched. But when I started to get into anime, it was Dragon Ball. So first ever anime is Pokemon. Unfortunately.
That nigga said, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, you care to explain more? You care to explain more why you said unfortunately?
Well, unfortunately, because I am a big fanatic of Dragon Ball, and I wish that was the first one I watched. But I mean, Pokemon isn't bad. It's just I never counted it as an anime. I thought it was like a random cartoon, like Looney Tunes and like Billy and Mandy, Kids Next Door. It popped up on Cartoon Network, so I just thought it was a random cartoon with you know animals with powers and shit.
Got you.
I'm not gonna lie, I can see that actually, because that's the first impression I have of Pokemon too. Like I didn't think it was like some anime. I just thought it was some like random scheduled like cartoon program like on Cartoon Network and stuff.
Yes,
Yeah, I could see that. Okay,
yeah,
okay,
every
that's
episode
good.
was different. Like it didn't
Mm,
seem connected to me, bro. But then when you start to
yeah,
actually like watch Pokemon, like at the episode by episode, it's like connected. So
yeah. Okay, I see. Makes sense.
All right. Well, my first anime, by I guess technicalities, it wasn't Dragon Ball, by the way, but my first anime was Yu-Gi-Oh. That was by technicalities the first anime I've watched, or
Yu-Gi-Oh,
at least the one I can remember watching the first.
Moo.
That was the first thing that got me into even watching like cartoons, almost like in general, because it showed like I used to carry like Yu-Gi-Oh cards in my wallet and shit like that. I was going crazy for Yu-Gi-Oh, and then nigga, it's time to duel. I got um over time I got um I got into Pokemon. Michael, who unfortunately couldn't join us. We used to go to the U Fair and collect Pokemon cards and shit like that, and also Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh were definitely like my first introduction to like animation and shit like that. But Dragon Ball in terms of like shonen is my first introduction. Well, Dragon Ball Z was my first introduction to shonen, I should say.
Mm.
And with that, all your life points have been turned to zero. Yeah,
I low key
I
down,
really did
Kaiba.
fuck with Yu-Gi-Oh. I definitely did fuck with Yu-Gi-Oh. You got the goat. Well, my goat is
Kaiba.
Yami Yugi. You know what I'm saying? But Kaiba was just kind of a rich nigga. But I mean, not just
Yeah.
any rich nigga.
You
He got that blue eyes white dragon. And then when you really think about it, like I said, you could really tell that it was a Japanese anime because the Shadow Realm exists because of like the censored version from like 4Kids and shit like that. I was recently watching a video on like 4Kids and how they like the censor shit. Right? I'm not gonna get too far into that, but
That lollipop scene.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that in Yu-Gi-Oh that you would never know.
I never knew you could smoke a lollipop, gang.
You
Me
never
either,
knew
bro.
smoke a lollipop.
Smoking that lollipop pack, bro.
Shit, they was doing a lot in One Piece, but like I said, since we're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh, like I said, the Shadow Realm exists because of the 4Kids. Like I said, that was like I'm mostly talking about it because that was my first exposure to Yu-Gi-Oh, through the 4Kids dub and shit like that.
I remember that long time ago.
Interesting. Wow.
It was an interesting experience learning that it wasn't a lot of stuff was changed for the American B audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
But
it actually is interesting to like learn about that. So
Actually,
like, bro, like when I was No, go ahead.
No, my fault. Go ahead. You're speaking. You got it.
Yeah, because like I didn't realize that a lot of these like animes were censored either. And when I was younger, I mean, I'm not jumping into like what my first anime that I ever watched is, but I'm just kind of like adding on to like what you said. Because when I was younger, I didn't know that like a lot of these animes were actually like had like mature content in them. I just thought, okay, this is how like they actually were. But then when I got older, like I saw like slight differences between like what I saw when I was younger and when I got older. I was like, oh, really? It's like they actually coughed up blood instead of like looking like they're just throwing out spit from their mouth and stuff. So for example, like from a scene from Dragon Ball Z. Like, let's say someone gets punched in their stomach, right? Like, you would just all you would normally see is like spit coming out of their mouth, right? But then it's like when I watched it with like another fresh set of eyes when I was older, like I saw the same scene again, but it's like the same character was like coughing out blood. I was like, oh shit, damn, okay. Like they actually have like things like this, like gore in anime, like yeah.
Yeah,
So
niggas in Yu-Gi-Oh used to die, like get erased, not
damn.
sent to the shadow realm, not disappear, none of that shit. Not they just went out for he passed away. They can't say death on TV. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So it's like they
He
would
unfortunately
always
lost all
find a
his loved
way.
ones.
Yeah, they would say stuff like that too, but it
Yeah.
was always there was always a way to get around it. But like I said, my first experience watching that was not knowing that, so it was kind of like crazy to think like, oh shit, like you know niggas was actually like real life getting stabbed and dying, and there there was one scene where niggas was pointing guns. Well, I don't know if I can show that, but like niggas was pointing guns, but instead they did the fingers like I just did.
The pew pew beams.
The pew pew beams and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Not
Well, and now that I really realize, actually, when I really think about it, my first ever anime was truly Digimon.
Huh? Was what?
Oh,
Was
Digimon.
Digimon.
Digimon, digital monsters.
Because I
Are
still
the
remember.
champions?
No, because when I think about my first ever anime, I have to also take into account that yes, like what Dimitri was saying, when when you're younger, you're not really realizing it's an anime. But
Mm-hmm.
Digimon was the first ever thing I've ever watched that was Japanese orientated, and it is an anime. So I mean, technically, I would have to count it as Digimon's my first ever anime. But with my actual brain working, I
Yeah,
only can remember Dragon
with
Ball.
my actual brain working. That's what I'm
My
saying, bro.
actual brain
When
working.
I actually found out, when I actually found out that an
When
anime
his
was an
frontal
anime,
lobe
bro.
has when his
Yeah,
frontal lobe
if we're gonna, yeah,
fully
you know what I'm
developed.
saying,
Its frontal
bro.
lobe developed.
Bro, I was just a kid scared of ghosts because I lived in a haunted house. But we're not gonna get to that spooky story. Maybe for another time. But long story short, I couldn't sleep and shit. And the first ever anime I ever watched, I was like stuck on YouTube since I was scared out my shitless pants. You feel me? I was watching Digimon until the sun came up. So Digimon was my first ever anime to ever watch. 'Cause it was long as hell. They were yapping in another language, and I was like, "What the hell are they saying?" And I kept I kept rewinding it. I'm
Yeah.
like, "Okay, okay," and I think I get it now. It's like Pokemon. Yeah. So I mean,
Oh, I'll say for
Like I
me,
said,
I'm not gonna
actually
lie. I don't.
continue.
Yeah, I'll say for me, I don't think like I have like a clear like remembrance of like the first anime that I ever watched. Cause like when I was younger,
Hmm.
I was in Nigeria and stuff, and bro, I watched like a mix of like different animes, but an anime that I do remember like seeing for the first time vividly that I didn't even realize was an anime was actually was Bakugan. Bakugan was like one of the first like anime that I ever saw on like TV. It wasn't even on TV. It was like on DVD and stuff. Cause like in Nigeria, sometimes like they'll sell DVD sets of like shows or like compilations and things like that. And what's another anime I remember watching like blindly? I also remember watching like
Bleach.
Bleach. Yeah, Bleach
Bleach.
was
Hold on, wait,
also
whoa. You said you watched. What was your first anime again?
it was either Bakugan or Bleach.
Well, which one is it?
Yeah.
Bakugan or Bleach? Which one you seen first?
I saw Bleach first. That's what I'm saying. But it's like Bleach came second. But it's like I was just like watching a mix of stuff. And I think at some point I even saw like I haven't saw Naruto, but it wasn't until I came to the US that I got to actually discover like Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z. Actually, the first Dragon Ball that I ever watched was not Dragon Ball, not Dragon Ball Z. It was Dragon Ball Z
Super.
Kai. It was Dragon Ball
Oh,
Z Kai. Nigga said
basically,
who said Super, bro? Who said Super, bro?
Yo,
I thought you was gonna say Super.
Yo, who said Super? Yo,
No,
Super is
no,
Super,
I
bro.
thought you, I
Who
thought you was
fucking
gonna say
Super, bro?
Super.
Hey, yo, Super is crazy. Hey, oh, Super was like when I was in high school, man. Super was when we were in high school. Oh shoot, Super is wild.
Super
Hey,
is
yo,
crazy as fuck.
but,
Yo,
but
see, I don't know why you even said Super, bro. Super wasn't even a thought, bro.
nah, Super did not come to the back of my mind at
That
all.
was
But
back then when niggas used to recover from GT, bro.
for real, hey, yo, that's wild. But yeah, and I also remember watching like Yu-Gi-Oh when I was younger too. Yu-Gi-Oh was I would say was one of the memorable ones. Like I would watch that shit with my friend when I was younger and stuff. And bro, the things that I'll remember was like, oh, I activate my trap card. I activate Dark Magician. I summon like a Blue Eyes White Dragon and this and that. I'm like, bro. And Seto Kaiba, yeah, like I could agree. He was just like he was low key moving like freaking like
Elon
what
Musk.
Tony Stark? Yeah, Elon Musk or Tony Stark, bro, in the freaking anime, bro.
That dude would literally
Like,
pull up
bro.
on you, say that you're broke, and then beat you and do it. Like, yo, he'll literally pull up
Bro,
on
bro,
you,
that
flex
bro,
his money,
the niggas in
and
the
beat
black
you in
mask.
dueling. That
The
shit's
niggas
keep it
crazy.
real.
No, it wasn't black mask. It was the niggas in suits, like like in the Matrix and shit. Like they, there was a scene where niggas was chasing him and he literally shot at them and then dipped off, bro. Like that nigga was on some shit. That nigga was like,
Not gonna lie, I never watched Yu-Gi-Oh. I think I only seen clips of Yu-Gi-Oh. The only thing I know is the memes. What you
the
call
memes?
it? Kaiba. That's it. That's all I know. That's all I get. Or his legendary. I'll summon another Blue Eyes White Dragon. Damn, nigga, you got another one.
Yeah.
Another one.
And then like he would like fuse them together and things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I remember like in Yu-Gi-Oh, it's like they fused cards, right? You can do that, right?
Yeah,
Like
you
in the
use
show?
cards, you
Yeah.
tribute cards, you
Only if you're Kaiba. Kaiba.
you later on
nah,
you
any
can
nigga
synchro
could do
summon,
it.
you could exceed summon. There's a lot of summoning for Yu-Gi-Oh.
All I heard from Yu-Gi-Oh, I was interested in it until it was conflicted. Like, some people say, yo, they're actual, like, entities. I think it was Yami who actually had the ability to make these card creatures actually have a life and they come to life. And then the other ones say they're holograms. I'm like, how you go from making demons and cards into goddamn holograms?
So,
Low key, I'm not gonna lie.
me,
I've always thought they were all holograms. I'm not gonna lie.
yo,
Like,
you're telling me, right? So what you're telling me right now is that you gave up on season 1.
Yes, that's why I literally said I dropped it the moment I heard about that nonsense.
That's not really nonsense. It's literally first it's holograms, and then the magic that comes in it makes the monsters real. It's not like it's nothing. It's nothing
listen,
like hard.
They got to be real monsters, gang. They gotta be real beasts out here. You know what I'm saying? Like real demons. They fight real shit. Not some niggas losing the holograms, niggas. Imagine losing to fucking ChatGPT.
It's a card game. It's a card game that's holographic. They state that in the beginning of the show.
No, because in the beginning I seen the theme. No, thank you. In the theme, you see this nigga with his goddamn gold chain talk about I can summon the creature. I'm like, yo, that's just so hard until I realized it's holograms. So this nigga basically coincidentally have the real creatures, but they're holograms. But he could turn them real because
no, that first of all, the creatures aren't. All right, let me tell you, the creatures aren't real. They're just cards, right? That pop up as holograms once you play them on the stadium or on your dual disc, right?
Then what about the scene where Yami
Yami's a pharaoh, right? So Yami and other people that have the power of these items, like the Egyptian items, right? They have different like rulers and pharaohs in them. that once the person uses the item, they turn into that person, where they transform into that person. Not really transform, but they take the personality of that person, or
their soul enters their body,
their persona or whatever. And after that, they literally use magic, the magic that they have in that item, to make these monsters real. That's why it's called the shadow games. Like, once you lose, you go to the shadow realm, and that's real. That part right there is real. Gulag. You know, cool. This thing is called the gulag, bro.
All right, I think we all gave our first animes. You know what I'm saying? I think this is a good time.
Yes, we have.
In the video, you know what I'm saying?
Matter of fact, nah. What about y'all? You watching? You watching the video? What's your anime, Nick? Put that shit in the comments, gang.
Yeah, right here. Yeah, in the comics, let us know your first.
You thought I forgot about you? You thought I'm not breaking the fourth wall, gang? What about you? Yeah, my hand glitching. What about you?
Oh yeah, and be sure to subscribe for sure. Be sure to subscribe, and
if you like,
let us know any other topics you want us to discuss. We like I said, we talk about a lot of things.
Listen,
let us know. Don't be afraid to comment and show some love. You know what I mean?
If you're an introvert, I get it, gang. We not gonna see you. You don't see me, gang. Okay, just go ahead and just go type it in that motherfucker. Say what you gotta say. We want to hear your voice too, gang. Open up. I'm a robot. Look, I'm a bot. You could be a bot. Just type. That's all I'm asking.
And we're real people and not clickers like this guy over here.
Not too much. We're gonna take over the world. Anyways, but yeah, just do that. That's all. Make sure you get your water. Don't forget the water. Make sure you get your snack. And hit that like, hit that subscribe, and you're great.
I'm just a guy with a mic.
Yeah, he's just a guy in the mic with dreads. Typical. Yeah, come on.
All right, guys. Peace.